Hello everybody and welcome back to yet another video. Today, oh my goodness, we have something absolutely incredible to talk about. Just yesterday, as of the time that I started recording this, which would be 2/26, or February 26th, I guess if that makes it easier for you, we got an insane presentation from Pokemon themselves as a way to kind of celebrate Pokemon Week, the day before Pokemon Day. And I believe for most people, the most notable announcements were obviously the announcements for the new main series Pokemon games, as well as what looks to be a new spin-off title. Those titles being, of course, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Pokemon Shining Pearl, and Pokemon Legends Arceus. And I just have absolutely so much that to talk about. I'm so excited for these games. I grew up on Generation 4 Pokemon Platinum, especially. So to see these games finally being revamped, remade, and brought to the Switch is just a dream come true for me. But I know that there might be some confusion. There might be some theories. There might just be some people who want to know exactly what we're going to be getting into. And of course, I'm one of those people. So, as the title suggests, I decided to watch the Pokemon Presents trailer about 10 times, maybe a couple more times, because I actually watched them about 10 times in real time, and then I watched them a couple times just slowed down, just to make sure that I got each and every single frame of detail. And here are the things I noticed. Now, in this video specifically, I'm going to be talking about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl and what I noticed from those trailers. If you guys want to see me talk about Pokemon Legends Arceus, then be sure to let me know down below in the comments, and I will get to work on making that video right away. But I'm going to kind of go in just chronological order from the beginning of the trailers, which you can find them on YouTube on the official Pokemon channel. So if you want to follow along, you can kind of follow along with me. I'm not going to be using too many clips, mainly because I am a little bit worried that Pokemon or Nintendo or Game Freak are going to come for me if I use their content without their permission. But immediately as soon as we start the trailer, the first thing you will notice is the new art style. It's very chibi, it's very cutesy, and it reminds me a lot of Link's Awakening. Now, people have been kind of up in arms about this. I'd say it's about 50-50. Half people love it, half of the people really dislike it. I'm kind of more in the disliking tone, but I do like that it's very faithful to the original Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, as that was the kind of 2D pixelized version of chibi style. I think overall it doesn't look terrible. I think it'll take a lot of getting used to, and I also understand why they would do it from not only a business standpoint, but from a more meta standpoint. Because in my opinion, I think that this chibi art style would be a lot more easier to handle and to produce than an art style like in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, and even the Galar games would be. So for them to want to kind of remake this game in its almost original art style, as well as kind of make it a little easier for them to produce this game, it makes a lot of sense. Now, moving a little bit forward in the trailer, we come across this scene, which may not be as important to a lot of people, which is why I wanted to make this video. I wanted to just kind of put as many of the details out there. But two main details that I see is, first off, we see the Jubilife City clowns. And now in the original games, if you didn't know, the clowns are kind of instrumental in not only giving you the Poketch, which is basically a little watch in the games that you can use with a lot of functionality, but they give you a lot of apps for that same watch. Now, obviously, the apps worked in a way where you had the top screen of your DS act as the actual main game, and the bottom screen would act as your watch. So do I think they're actually going to bring the Poketch back? I'm not really sure. I don't know how they would do it as outside of having a separate menu. So just all around, I think it's still important to know, and I wanted to bring it up, obviously. But the bigger thing is on the big screen, we can kind of see a scene of what I expect to be contests. Now, contests were introduced in Generation 4. They were basically introduced in Generation 3, but they were played up a lot in Generation 4 as well, with them being pretty important in the anime and, of course, kind of important in the games. Now, people who like contests, it's definitely more of a very niche experience and joy for people, but I do know that there are people who enjoy it and would probably be really excited that they're returning. Moving a little bit more forward, again in the trailer, we finally see a scene of Floroma Town, and we actually see some empty berry spots. Now, of course, it shouldn't be a surprise that Generation 4, with its berries in the original game, will most likely bring back the idea of planting and growing berries. So I think that's a really cool thing. I think it'll help the competitive scene to be able to grow some berries, and I think it's just neat overall. Some more minute details as well. We also see the playable character running through, I believe it'd be Route 204, or one of the early routes in the game. And we actually see them randomly encounter a Pokemon. And now I know that sounds like such a obvious and easy to understand thing, but we also don't get the chance to see overworld Pokemon like we would in Pokemon Sword and Shield or Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. So this almost kind of confirms or kind of points towards the fact that we're going to go back to the older style of encountering Pokemon, which is just completely random encounter as you run through the grass. And on top of this, we're not shown the exact battle HUD, but we are shown just kind of what battles look like. We see obviously two Pokemon pitted against each other, throwing moves at each other, and while we don't see the HUD, like I said, it does look very standard. And in my opinion, it would be hard to tell the difference without the HUD and without the exact moves and all that, but it does look like it's more standard and not like a Let's Go style game. Something that we also are treated to based on just seeing in-game battling scenes is we get to see some player models. Now, the only models that I really think we got to see in a good light are the playable character, Dawn specifically, her model, and Barry's model. So I wanted to talk about Barry's model because I think it actually looks really good. It's not very chibi. It's not really short like the Let's Go trainers, in my opinion, but it looks good. I think it looks as good as a lot of the Galar trainers and their models in Sword and Shield, and even I think it even looks a little bit better. So yeah, that's just my opinion. I think he looks awesome. I'm really excited to see some of the other trainers, especially Cynthia, because I think she's amazing. But moving on, the next important scene I wanted to talk about was this scene of the Valley Windworks. And I noticed this on Twitter, actually. Someone pointed it out because it kind of differs from different scenes that we see of the overworld. But the most important thing here is the lighting. Now, I don't know for sure if this is going to be more of a time difference thing. So obviously, starting from, I believe, Generation 2, was it? You had different events and different Pokemon that would come out during different parts of the day. So obviously more modernized versions of the games would brighten your game or darken your game based on what time it was. I really hope that this is one of those scenes, and basically it's kind of like sunset or late in the evening, so the sun is kind of going down. It's casting a shadow on all the windmills. It looks incredible. It really looks like a beautiful scene. And of course, the little Drifloon there maybe also points a finger towards the time-based events, because in the original Generation 4 games, you could find Drifloon on specific days, which I believe those specific days were Fridays. Moving forward yet again, we have a quick look at what seems to be, and I would say this with very good confidence, the Union Room. Now, if you don't know what the Union Room is, it is basically kind of just like an online room that was introduced in Generation 4, and it played off of Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, which was shut down quite a while ago, just because it wasn't profitable for Nintendo to really run anymore. But now, obviously, with more modern versions of how online connection works, it makes it very possible for them to bring back the Union Room, and it looks like in this scene they are doing just that. Now, it could be just they might have just revamped the Union Room, but I really hope that they actually bring it back to how it was, because it's more of a community, more of a little hub type thing, and I think it'd be really awesome to see. Now, this scene, of course, this could be another revamp, another remake of what it was in the original games, but what I think this scene depicts is the underground. Now, if you don't remember the underground, which I really hope you do, but it was basically a whole new kind of entirely different game. You can go basically dig anywhere you wanted in the main series Generation 4 Sinnoh games, and you could go to this underground section. You could build secret bases, you could mine up for different ores and different items. It was an incredible development, and a lot of people really loved it, but they took it out in Generation 5 onwards, and we haven't heard or seen it since. I really hope that they bring back the underground as it was, because I think they could, especially if they're bringing back stuff like the Union Room, the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, all that. I think it'd be awesome. I think it'd be really fun to just hang out with a group of friends and for everyone to go to their secret bases with your Switches all in one room. So please Game Freak, this is the one thing I will say, please bring, or maybe not the one thing, because there is something later I'd like to talk about. But what we also see during this underground scene is not a huge thing, and it makes a lot of sense considering the Switch's controller schematic, but we see full 360-degree movement. We see the characters move in kind of snaking patterns almost, and they're not moving in just a 4 cardinal direction movement, which is very big. Obviously, this was introduced basically Generation 6 onwards, where you have more 360-degree movement, and nowadays with the Switch obviously being a analog stick, it makes a lot of sense that it's like that. Now, we get a little bit of focus on 2 specific Pokemon, and I thought this was really interesting when I first watched the trailer, and those 2 Pokemon being Lucario and Garchomp. Now, my first thought was Lucario and Garchomp are 2 Pokemon that Cynthia uses, Of course, we don't get any images or scenes or visuals of Cynthia in the game, and more importantly, we also get Lucario facing a Garchomp battle. So what I think is either this is a battle between the main playable character and Cynthia and her Garchomp, or a battle between the main playable character and another character who has a Garchomp or something. Hey guys, a little bit of a quick editor's note. I actually did some research and I found out that Cynthia's Garchomps have always been female, and the important thing to note about female versus male Garchomp is that in this image that we're given, we actually see that the Garchomp has a little bit of a notch in its back fin. That's actually exclusive to male Garchomp, so it kind of debunks my theory immediately that this might have been Cynthia's Garchomp, but that could also present the idea that we're facing Cynthia's Lucario instead with our own Garchomp, or it just presents another trainer who has a Garchomp, which to my knowledge, I don't know of any other very notable trainers who actually have Garchomps. So just wanted to add that in there. But it also intrigues me that these two Pokemon are very notable for both having Mega Evolutions, and they're some of the more prominent Pokemon in Brilliant Diamond, or I should say in Sinnoh, that actually have Mega Evolutions. So why would Game Freak and Nintendo show us these Pokemon? My theory is that they're showing us these to kind of try to ease us back into the idea of bringing back Mega Evolutions. Now, it wasn't really confirmed or really talked about, but there have been some talks, and I will show, I believe it was a tweet or just an image of, I think, Mega Lucario and Mega maybe Garchomp. It might have been a different one. I don't have the exact information on hand, but I believe there were figurines trademarked or labeled for new Mega Pokemon that were from Sinnoh, and that could point us in a direction that we're getting Mega Evolution. I don't want to stress on this too much, but a lot of people who were expecting Generation 4 remakes expected us to see Dynamax in this game, as it is the Generation 8 mechanic, but from a more business, or I shouldn't say business, but from an in-game standpoint, it doesn't really make sense for them to use Dynamax again. And my reasoning for that is I do not think Dynamax really fits in a world where the art style is this chibi. Even though in-battle models do look more standardized and more modernized, I don't think the idea of Dynamaxing really fits. And also we had to remember that Dynamax is sort of specific to the Galar region because of their power spots. Of course, we expected them to kind of tie that back into Sinnoh. There's suddenly power spots there, and I don't know. It could be anything. It could just be they wanted to use the most popular Sinnoh Pokemon, which are probably Lucario and Garchomp. We don't know. If more information comes out on this, I'm probably going to talk about it because I would be really excited to see Mega Evolution come back. Now, one of the last scenes we actually are given is this mashup Dialga and Palkia statue in Turna City in the Sinnoh games. And what's interesting about this is actually kind of derived from the manga, and I don't believe this was in the original games. I believe in the original games it wasn't like this. It was actually a little bit different, so to see this is kind of interesting, and maybe it points us in a different direction of how the story is going to go, even though obviously the narrator did tell us that we would be experiencing the base Diamond and Pearl games. And of course, the most important note that we get at the end of the trailer is that this game is going to be releasing worldwide in late 2021. Again, this is a bit of a foreseeable event happening, but it is important to note that obviously late 2021 most likely means holiday season. Big companies, obviously like Pokemon and Nintendo, love to release games during holiday season because Christmas just means money. It means people are most likely going to buy your games. So definitely expect these games to come out around Thanksgiving and Christmas, and also be on the lookout for a possible bundle with the Switch, like a special bundle, obviously like the one that came out with Sword and Shield. That's pretty much everything that I really wanted to talk about. I try to watch this trailer as much as I can to squeeze out as much information. I didn't want to go over each individual detail and each individual frame, just because most of this video would end up being, here we see the playable character walking through the first city, walking through the first route. And obviously that's going to happen. Everyone knows that that's going to happen. But what everyone might not know is that we would be getting some of the things that I talked about. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, please leave a comment. I want to talk to you guys about these new games, especially Legends Arceus, because I think it's going to be super awesome. I'm really excited for these games. So let me know how you guys are feeling. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.